And now, episode 9. This is it. Episode 9 will conclude the 6th chapter. We're on page 69. So let's continue on and let's find out with Bailey. The moment passes and is replaced with a new sensation for Bailey. She feels a sudden chill as the cold water begins to gently tickle the bottom of her feet. Suddenly, she feels faster water currents pushing on her feet and angles and compromising her footing. Before she can react, she is suddenly swept sideways underwater and thrown forward like a leaf being blown in a blustery autumn windy day. She reaches out aimlessly to grab onto anything to keep her from being swept away, but finds nothing. The light's intensity begins to change from brilliant, blinding light to a dark satin black, almost swallowing her alive. Bailey begins to feel something slimy across her toes and hands and chest as she instinctively reaches for her face, only to find strands of seaweed wrapped tightly around the facing of her bubble helmet as well. She struggles to get it off, and as the moving water currents keep twisting and pushing on her all the while, as if she is inside some sort of water vortex. Finally, the currents begin to ease and fade, and she is very happy for this kind of relief. While she still feels very dizzy and a little disoriented, she's again jolted when she strikes something solid across her knees and almost blacks out from the pain. Bailey puts her hand out, attempting to feel what she struck, and after close examination with her hands, she can only conclude that she hit a large rock along the rocky coastline. And there's the picture of her underwater, reaching out. She moves to reposition herself and grimaces when she feels herself unexpectedly restricted. Her leg seems to be wedged between two rocks, and she can't seem to wiggle out. The water around her has swallowed her visual view of the situation as it cruelly conceals her surroundings by carefully crafted bubbles and sea mire. She begins to panic as she moves her hands swiftly to and fro as the water bubbles subside and the seaweed is pushing aside in favor of the light above. As the light above appears and becomes brighter with every passing second, she is relieved to look up and see bluish skies once again. Once she looks up, she realizes that she's still not out of the woods. The surface of the water is still 12 to 16 inches above her domed head. With her hands, she reaches up and clears the water crust with her hand, as depicted in this picture, by her good handspan. If only she could just grab onto something and pull herself up, but alas, there's nothing. She continues to struggle and kick, trying to free herself, but it almost seems for naught. She's still stuck there. Something's still on her foot. She reaches that time as well, and along and fears that her supply of oxygen will be exhausted soon, and she may be faced with the possibility of suffocating inside her head-covered dome, or open the helmet, and drown. She looks up and sees the sun, while still a good foot underwater. Bailey only needs the foot to reach the surface and not drown. Then, as if on clue, the buzzer goes off in her helmet, telling her that she will be out of oxygen in just 1 minute. She struggles with even more effort and intensity, trying to get free, but no progress. She's really stuck good. She pulls herself down and going deeper underwater and grabs her leg with both hands, hoping to free herself, but is unable to do so. Despite the fact that her ankle is wedged, she doesn't feel any pain. She hopes that's a good sign. Still, what difference does it make if her leg is numb because of being damaged? She still needs to get free to get to the surface for air. Bailey continues to struggle and pushing while panic and fear begins to set in. She doesn't know what to do. She's in a real jam. She most assuredly needs to get free now. Her eyes moisten and her throat tightens as Bailey bewails the notion of her death. Of all places, why did it have to be here? While it was true that this was not her lake back on Earth, it still had its own charm and always made her feel good like her lake on Earth. But this lake was not hers, and this was definitely not Earth. Her lake back home was always like a good friend to her. It was always there to support her in good times and in bad times. It always stood by her in all her tribulations and gave her hope of better things to come. But this was not her lake. This was not her friend. As far as she was concerned, this was a cheap imitation of the real thing. Her lake would stand by her and help her. But not this one, she lamented to herself. As bitter as this moment was, she could not escape this one cold fact. Her life will end in the next few minutes if she doesn't break free. She pushes even harder and harder and kicks with everything that she has, and still nothing. She was still stuck underwater with only extended hands to feel the gentle breeze above her hand. Life and death for her was in truth only inches away in defeat. Bailey fights back the tears and says to herself not to quit, not to surrender. Don't let it end like this, she demands of herself. Then it happens. She hears another buzz and fears that her time may be up. Was this the last one, or was there going to be another buzz? She didn't remember. Yet all she knows now is that she can't quit. She still has so much to live for. She looks up heavenly, and sees the 5 sons of Notlam again, extending her above her for maybe the last time. Well, this almost blended together as one. The brilliancy of the light, the warm sun rays on her face through the crystal clear water seemed to wish her well and was saying goodbye lovingly. Her face, her eyes were starting to feel strange, and that scared her. She begins to feel dizzy and a little disoriented. She senses new feelings that she cannot describe and assumes it must be from the oxygen deprivation. Then suddenly, without warning, she experiences a great calm. Bailey finds herself standing inside her friend's house, Joelle. She sees herself in a long dressing mirror. While she was so young and beautiful in her wedding dress, what a happy day that was. She felt warm and happy as she looked into the next room to see her future first husband, Eli, standing fully attired in a rented tuxedo and proud to be free from the purse strings of his controlling rich parents. Her face hurt from smiling that day and how proud she was of him and how much she loved him for standing up against his family and marrying her. This well-groomed man of yellow, thick, wavy hair was almost the envy of so many ladies that fell short in winning his heart back east. While they pretended to be nice to her face and wedding, she knew they thought of her as ordinary or of low-grade stock, especially his family's relatives. Despite the arrogance of the family and their blue blood disposition, Bailey loved Eli, especially when he spoke to her with his natural Bostonian accent. It was almost so sexy to her that she knew that he knew it. Bailey had many times never felt she was good enough for this wonderful specimen of a man, but of course, she was never going to admit it to him or his rich, uppity family. Her heart almost skips a beat as he winks his left eye to her and mouths the words tenderly, "I love you." Her heart swoons, and this image blurs into another memory of her first husband. Instead of one of love and tenderness that graces her eyes, it's the ugly beast of anger or the rage flaring its nostrils. This reflection of a man comes into view as he grabs her heatedly by the shoulders and begins to violently shake her. This dismal spectra begins to come into focus. As you can see the pictures there, Bailey is now choking. She's not sure if it's the gripping bad memory or the sheer oxygen deprivation. She didn't know now, nor did she even care at this point. She only wanted it to stop. This bad memory has haunted her all her life as a young mother, refusing to let it go. She agonizes as tears begin to pour down her eyes. She wails without sound as she pleads to her Heavenly Father for this not to be her last memory. This was not what she wanted or even deserved. Truth was, she knew God would forgive her, but she wasn't sure if she would really forgive herself. The room is twisting, and she feels like the pressure of being squeezed without any mercy. Her last thoughts are of her loyal judge smiling with her now grown daughter Marie as everything goes dark. And then we have chapter 7 entitled Cassio. And there she is on the beach. What happened? Stay tuned for the next episode of our book club. I forgot the title. Escape from Vacation World.